I started thinking about this project over 30 years ago. I was in Saudi Arabia on an Arts America tour and had an exhibit in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. And the curator said, Michael, would you take a dozen blind students around the gallery and talk about your photographs? I didn't think much of it, but I will never forget their intense listening, their gaze, their attention. It was just like the room, the mood changed. I'd never been around a group of people that listened with that kind of purpose. And soon they started asking me questions. Why are you a photographer? What do these photographs mean? Describe the color of black or white or gray. What's beautiful that's non-visual? How does anyone, blind or sighted, understand the world outside themselves? And quickly I figured they were the ones giving the gallery talk and I was listening to them, learning from them. And so I just said to myself, someday I would love to have conversations about perception and about phenomenology, about the sense of what we think about. And I did it, finally came back to it and spent 7 years working on this project. These are deep stories you haven't heard before, stories about what it's like to be blind from the inside, not from the outside. They're about the nature of blindness, the nature of perception, the nature of adaptation, how we can adapt to our different situations. It's also about a hunger to know more, to do more, to have a deeper compassion and understanding. And I think too, in all these different narratives and stories, it's about the grave misunderstanding and discrimination toward people that are blind. There are some absolutely incredible life stories that can really change your perspective in life. You know, I've learned so much. I've learned about what it means to be aware, that perception is not just visual, it's with everything. It's with listening, with touch, with taste, with so many aspects. It's about being present, being mindful. It's about listening with intensity and purpose. It's about the deep mystery of perception. And I think stories are windows into a larger world than our own, larger life than our own. It's important. You know, I think some powerful stories that can liberate us. They can remove the boundaries between ourselves and others. I think stories have that power in our lives to listen and change perspective. And maybe that's the most important word in the English language is perspective. And discovery or rediscovery changes when you change your perspective. So there's a lot someone can learn coming into this gallery. I interviewed a man by the name of Mario Aguirre, and he went blind as a teenager. I think he had rod and cone dystrophy. And he became a counselor in a large city rape crisis counselor. And he's the most favored, 21 years. And he said something I thought was very profound. He said there's a certain risk involved in listening. The risk is what you might hear could change you. It takes a lot of humility to say that. When you listen, opposed to what you hear more than others do. Listening is an act of kindness. Listening is not being quiet, but being present. Also in this exhibit is Michael Hinkson. And Michael Hinkson was born blind. He was on the 78th floor of Tower 1 on 9/11. So he was on the 78th floor when the first plane struck. And Michael said, the whole building began to shudder and creak and groan. He said the building swayed back and forth as much as 20 feet. And he was with his guide dog, Roselle, at the time. And he said through his organizational skills and teamwork, and because he paid attention, he knew exactly how many steps from the 78th floor to the lobby. I mean, I don't know who would know that. He knew exactly how many steps it would take. And so because of his attention, because of his care, he was able to assist others down to safety. I mean, here's someone that was born blind with a guide dog, and he was the one assisting others down to safety. And he said something really profound. He said that the biggest problem that blind people face is not blindness, but rather what sighted people think about blindness. And that's that's something. If that's the hardest thing about blindness is a public attitude toward people with vision loss and blindness. He said, "Judge me based on not what you think I can do, but judge me on what I have done."